Okay, and welcome to Internet Safety for Kids. I am Ellis, technologist, after-school teacher, and entrepreneur. We put out a product called Kids.web. It's all about internet safety and website building for kids. Today, we're going to just talk about how we go about keeping our kids safe. So I'm going to start off with this presentation and then open it up to ask questions from the group and have a discussion. So we'll go from there. So introduction, what is internet safety? Right, it's really about protecting our kids from online harm, instilling in them to make wise choices, right? And how they make wise choices is understanding some of the perils of the internet that's out there, and also parent awareness, ensuring that parents are aware of a lot of the things that are going on out there. Parents, you have to make yourself aware in reference to it. If you're going to give your kids the cell phone, the computer, the tablet, you too have to make yourself aware in reference to what it is that they can get into. So some of the perils of the internet, or the biggest perils of the internet, is limited education. Limited education as far as the kids, knowing what they can and can't do, is limited education as far as the parents, the teachers, aunts, uncles, and just not knowing in reference to a lot of things that kids can get into online. Social media, that's a big one. We have the Facebooks, Instagrams, TikTok is a phenomenon nowadays with the kids. And really just understanding in reference to what is it that your kid is posting? What are they looking at when they're online? Kind of getting in their business. Games, a lot of games nowadays promote violence. I'm sorry to pick on Roblox, but that's another one. It definitely promotes a lot of violence. There's a few other ones out there. Chat rooms is another one. The little chat windows that are inside of those games, that's where, adults are following kids. There's a lot of violence that happens as far as the communication with kids. YouTube, it is so easy for a kid to search for how to create a gun. I had a kid in my class one year search for how to create a gun using YouTube. Not the regular YouTube, the YouTube Kids, okay? You can search for some very interesting things on YouTube Kids. Challenges, that's another one that kids get into. There's a tons of different challenges, and most challenges, if not all, they lead to some version of suicide, okay? A lot of them is where they're having the kids to choke themselves out. Blue Whale, believe it or not, Blue Whale has been around since like 2016, and it has like 50 different tasks that a kid is supposed to follow, and the very last task is suicide, right? And so a lot of kids are doing these challenges, which is really sad. Group chat is another one. These are where the kids, they get on a kind of a text message or a phone group chat, and they get bullied. There's a lot of things that are happening on those group chats. A lot of times they're created at school with about 10 or more kids online. Cyber harassment. This is a term that we coined, cyber harassment, and it encompasses cyberbullying and cyberstalking. Cyberbullying, based off dictionary.com, is the act of harassing someone online by sending or posting mean messages, usually anonymous. And this happens a lot, where kids are just being bullied online, regardless if it's a message coming through the computer or on the phone, a random text message. It happens a lot. Cyberstalking is the practice of using a digital form of communication to harass a person in an aggressive, often threatening manner, okay? And this is where someone is literally following you online and literally just harassing you, regardless of where you're at. It could be in a chat room of a game. It could be via email, and they're doing it in a very threatening manner. Stopbullying.gov is a great resource to check out some of the things that are attempting to be put in place, and also to educate us in regards to how do we possibly help to prevent some of these things that are going on with kids. Security, privacy, that's a big thing. Not giving out our information, not giving out too much information. Phishing, this is where someone pretends to be someone else, right? It can also happen to us adults, to where we receive an email from Amazon, and it appears that it's an Amazon email, but if you double click on the email, you'll realize it's coming from somewhere else. It also happens with the kids as well. So this is usually someone pretending to be someone or a representative of a company, and they're not. Okay, malware is another one that you have to be careful with, because kids go on sites that they don't know, and when they go on sites that they don't know, they click on things, and guess what? It will destroy your entire computer. Okay, so that should really educate them to not go on sites that they're not familiar with, right? Because you get a worm on your computer, it can be really hard in order to fix that. Online predation. Oh, this one here. This is where these predators are just following your kids. They are targeting your kids. They use the internet to target your kids. Okay? Human trafficking. Now, California has the highest number of human trafficking incidents in the United States, according to the National Human Trafficking Hotline. There's something called Heat Watch. Heat Watch is an organization in Alameda County that is focused on helping to prevent human trafficking. And I'm just going to take a second here. Our new district attorney, Pamela Price, she writes in the Post, this is very interesting, it goes along with this. For the past 10 years, the Alameda County District Attorney's Office has made human trafficking a top priority. In December 2021, however, they acknowledged that despite all their efforts, Alameda County remains the third highest hotspot for human trafficking in the United States. Do you think this is happening because kids are walking down the street? This is happening online. Online. Okay? In 2013, the DOJ report found that 53% of human trafficking victims in Alameda County were foster youth groups. Some people are like, oh, okay, well, that doesn't completely affect me. Well, what about the other 45%? 61% of the victims of sex trafficking are African American, followed by 15% Latina and 12% Caucasian. It affects us all. It affects us all. And this is a big problem here, right here in Oakland, right here in Alameda County. And so they have a big initiative called Heat Watch. Go to heatwatch.org. You can learn a lot more about that. Okay? But again, human trafficking, this is not happening because your kid is outside playing. This is happening when they're online. There are drugs that are being sold online. You don't find the dope dealer standing on the corner anymore like you used to. So many things are being sold online, from cannabis, vaping, cigarettes, alcohol, other drugs such as meth, cocaine, prescription drugs, all being sold online right in front of your kids. How do we fight back? How do we fight back? I've talked about the things that are happening. How do we fight back? Empowerment, right? Empowering kids and parents, teachers, community. That's the after-school programs, recreation centers, sports, churches, empowering. And how do we become empowered? Is through knowledge, understanding that these things are there. If a kid understands that if they're playing a game and that chat window is stranger danger, guess what? They're going to make better informed decisions in regards to how they communicate with the people within that chat window. Of course, we got a few knuckleheads in the crew as far as kids, but most kids want to come home to their parents. They want to be safe, right? So it's about us becoming educated in regards to the things that are happening. Parents understanding that challenges exist online, okay? So that's how we fight back, is through empowerment. Other things, this is one thing is near and dear to my heart. I call it the approved game list, okay? In my classes, here it is, I teach programming, I teach websites. So I have kids, we have a break and they want to play games. Well, how do they play games in my class? It has to get on what's called the approved game list. So what does that mean? You have to sit down with Miss Key and we have to play the game together. And I need to know that it's not violent, right? It doesn't have a chat window. Because if I got a class of 20 kids, I can't go to watch every computer to see what you're chatting about, right? Maybe that's something that can happen at home, but not in my classroom. So I have to go with games that they have to meet certain criteria. So I tell parents, hey, do an approved game list, even at home. That way, if you're cooking, you know your kid's supposed to only be on certain games, you can easily lean over and see what games are on. And if you have younger kids, they should have the lay of the land as far as the internet. Maybe 3 games. You have a 5-year-old, 6-year-old, and they're playing games, 3 games max. That means at any given time, you can easily reach over and know they're on the game or the site that they're supposed to be on. And the games on here are just a few, they're actually really good sites. Rib.com, Kizzy, Scratch, these are all really good sites. Open communication. This is key, right? Open communication has to be a part of your daily activity. Knowing in reference to who their friends are, what social media sites that they're on, getting them to be able to think about the actions that they're doing online, talking to them about the peer pressure. Because nowadays, kids, they keep it in, they hold it in, they don't tell you in reference to what's going on, they don't tell you the form of bullying that's happening in these group chats that are going on. So having that open communication with your kids on a daily basis, allowing them to open up, right? Allowing them to tell you exactly what's going on so that you can help them to make better informed decisions. And staying up to date, mom and dad, aunt and uncle, helping the kids stay up to date in regards to exactly what's going on online. That is key in helping kids. So I conclude with that as far as my part of the presentation. I want you to join us every fourth Thursday there and about for topics on how to keep our kids safe at home and in the classroom. For the upcoming year, we're going to have guest speakers that are coming in talking about just a variety of different things that we should be looking at in reference to just how to keep our kids safe in general, online, offline. How do we keep our kids safe? And so we're going to have some really great topics and really great folks to come along and talk to us about that in the year of 2023, and looking forward to it. And I will end, since I am the speaker today, we have a product called Kids Got Web. In Kids Got Web, you learn about the internet, safety, how to build a website, how to code. Our whole goal is to teach kids how to be safe online. If there's an interest, please definitely contact me in that regard. All righty. So what I'm going to do at this point, I am going to turn it over and see if we have any questions from the audience here, and we'll go from there.
I have a question.
Yes.
My question is, so it's very helpful, the information you presented, and very appreciated, and I think it's timely. As a parent of a high schooler and a fourth grader, I think there's a whole lot of information out there floating in the universe, and internet is so close, and it's in our daily existence, that we find it hard, I believe, to pause, have the conversation with our kids, and really know what's the best way to go forward. So I really appreciated you giving the resources of the good games, the list of recommended games, I think, or website. I think, how do you really communicate that to, let's say, a teen and almost preteen, and with success, right? So what advice do you have for that, for parents overwhelmed by the information floating out there and finding the best way to communicate with their kids?
I think that just continuously open communication, talking to your kids often in regards to what's going on, what are they doing, how do they feel about certain things, knowing who their friends are. I think it's key. I think getting in your kids' business in regards to what are they doing online, I think also is very key. I know, just I say in my classes, have tons of nieces and nephews. It really is about really getting into their business, but allowing them to have that open communication so that they feel comfortable to come in and talk about what's going on, right? Because like I said in the beginning, a lot of kids, things are happening in these chats, these group chats with the kids on the phone, and they're not communicating about it. So allowing them to be able to have that communication continuously. This is part of the daily thing. How was school? You know, what did you learn on the internet and things of that sort? I think everyone's situation is unique in regards to they know their kids better than the next person and how to communicate with them and to be able to get them to open up. And so I think that's on a case-by-case basis there. But I think the key is daily communication and allowing them to communicate with you in regards to what's going on. I think that's important.
Thank you. That makes sense. Yeah. Yeah. All the roads go to communication. I actually
All the
agree.
roads go to
That's the weakest,
communication, absolutely.
that's the weakest link most of the time. Do you consider, so your product, is that, are you considering having it incorporated in after school programs?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. So we're focusing on putting the Kids Got Web, the product portion. We're focusing on putting that in after school, and we also have an organization that's looking to bring it as part of their curriculum. As far as the Kids Got Safe movement, this workshop, this is something that we're going to continue to do on a monthly basis. But also, we have two lined up for well, one in January and one in February, so where we're actually going to go out to that organization or that school and actually have a workshop to talk to parents, and another one's going to talk to parents in schools and educators in regards to how do we go about keeping the kids safe. So it's one aspect, the tool. The other one is actually us going out to folks and talking about how do we keep the kids safe.
Got it. Thank you. Very helpful.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
So, well, thank you very much for taking the time to come out with us. I do have one question, not putting anyone on the spot here. Is there any recommendations, or let me say it differently, is there something that has come up with your kid here lately that you have noticed that could be happening, that you've been able to circumvent in order to keeping them safe, that you could possibly enlighten the folks about?
I can add something. So I've noticed group chats. So with a fourth grader. So actually, going back, I think it's a little going back to the communication and the whole. How do you try to be aware of what the kids do online without crossing that while teaching them healthy boundaries, right? And I think that's easier said than done. I think that's because we do need to respect them and nurture their independence while being aware. So kind of scanning, I guess we can do, right? One situation, now to answer your second question, I noticed, so there are indeed, my youngest is a little more social, and I noticed that group chats, online she has an iPad, and I think it's very hard for younger folks and probably even older to know when the fine line is of you cross the line, really, and you're hurting somebody's feelings, or even worse, right? You're saying something very, very no. Online, it's easier. And then that it's almost like that has a life of its own online. And then you're in school, right? Recently, we became aware of something that was very hurtful. Julia was part of a thread of a group. And somebody, I guess some people are, they are going to be the center of the attention. And if you're in that group, whatever is being said, if you are not taking a different stance, becomes, you agree with it, right? So I think, again, and then the impact of such online discussions that actually start, we're talking about fourth graders, but the awareness, teaching them the awareness, and then how, I think, empathy. Hey, think about when you write something, right? Think about how it would be if you are receiving that, right? And I think the awareness not only for the children, but for parents, to your point of what's happening. And then really, I guess the question, what's the role at school? Because if the teacher or somebody in the school, they are not aware of some sort of tension that happened online, things really start rolling in the wrong direction in the class too.
Right.
So what, as a teacher, what do you, how would you go about it?
at the end of the day, if you're unaware, it's really hard to solve any issue. But if you are aware of something going on, again, you're gonna have to communicate in reference to the kids to figure out exactly what's going on. Sit them all down and have that discussion with them. It's it's no different than at home. If your two kids were into it, what are you gonna do, right? You're gonna sit down and you're gonna have a discussion, and we're gonna have a communicate about it. And if it goes beyond where a teacher, even myself being an after school teacher, if it goes beyond that, then of course we'd have to involve the parents and see where we can get to that. But hopefully it doesn't go that far to where we can resolve it. But again, it just really depends on the situations, case by case.
Yeah.
But communication, right? Communication is key. Absolutely. So
It is. No, this was very helpful. Thank you.
absolutely. Well, thank you so much for joining. I am going to, let me see here, stop this. Hold on.